Alright, so we live on Twitter. Let me check the YouTube. Make sure we good to go. Let me see. Yeah. Alright, we good. Alright, so I'm gonna keep this pulled up the whole time, and then I'm gonna keep YouTube pulled up the whole time. Hey, I'm doing my show, so be quiet. Oh, Marge, you're gonna have to look at Twitter, yo. Open Twitter, yo.
Oh God. Why?
So just so you can read the comments and we get in.
Oh.
Yeah. I got. I'm gonna hold down YouTube. I'm gonna hold down YouTube. Listen, without further ado.
Oh no.
Without further ado. Look, my man Mars nervous. Ain't nothing to be nervous about, you know. Without further ado, this is what we do. Maximum Spider Experience, episode 1. I am excited to get back to doing the show. You know, people been wondering where the crew been at, what's been going on. You know, why it ain't been no episodes, pixelated perspectives for people who, you know, may not know. So, you know, I'm going to get it out the way early. You know, I'm going to save you the suspense. And I'm going to just be honest. You know, I haven't talked to Sammy and Steven about this. You know, but basically the communication has been dog water, man. You know, we haven't been able to get a hold of Sammy. You know, me and Steven tried to, you know, reach out to him. We haven't been able to get a hold of him. He just basically, you know, pretty much started ghosting us, you know. And so, listen, I don't know the reason. That's all I can tell you about why there is no pixelated perspective as of right now. You know, who knows? Maybe me and Sonny may could do something in the future. That's my guy. You know, I'm probably going to have him on the show next week, or he may be here tonight. Who knows? But that's my guy. I love both of them brothers. You know, nothing but love to Sammy. I'm praying for him. I hope his mental health is well. I hope he's good. You know, with that being said, we're going to get to these games, man. New releases this month, October. So I'm going to ask you first, Mar. So what you playing or what you grabbing this month?
What I'm playing right now is Silent Hill 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fantastic. It's from a remake standpoint, as in visually, what I'm seeing, it's ridiculous. It's graphically what I'm seeing, what they've done with the game. is just unheard of. As in, when I see like a lot of remakes, I don't want to point fingers as in Final Fantasy's bad or whatever game is bad. It's just it's kind of like expected. You know, at this point, you're looking at all the Resident Evils, and it's like, oh yeah, they're going to remake this, they're going to remake that, and I already have like an idea how it looks like. With Silent Hill, because you're looking at like a PS1, PS2 franchise in a sense, you're kind of like, I wonder how it's going to look like, and then you're playing it, and you're like, this is ridiculous. Like, I didn't know they would do it like this. This is incredible. But the other game I have on me that I haven't popped open yet, I got the collectors for Metaphor. And so once I beat Silent Hill 2, possibly get the platinum, depending on the difficulty of it, I'm going to move on to Metaphor.
Silent Hill 2 is my first time ever playing a Silent Hill game, so I don't have too much of a perspective on the remake aspect of it. But what I will say is just looking at it from the perspective of it's a PS5 game this generation, just looking at it built from the ground up, I think it's amazing. I think it's great. It's a really good survival horror, and it really gives me hope that we can get back to maybe more of the classic Resident Evil remakes. You know, maybe something like Parasite Eve, which is criminally underrated. You know, maybe we can get some of these PS1 horror games, because that was really like, I want to say, the renaissance of survival horror on that PS1 with Silent Hill and Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, Parasite Eve, although it was like RPG mixed with a little horror aspect. But it's great, man. I love the DualSense integration. I love how dark it is. You know, a lot of games I tend to increase the brightness a little bit, but for Silent Hill 2, I gotta keep it dark because some of them jump scares on that game and the monsters. I'm almost at the end of the hospital, and the nurses, they so bullet spongy, they take so much damage, and it's frightening, man. That game is great.
You don't know how to bob and weave in that game? You don't know how to defend yourself?
Listen, here's the thing. Like, they be popping out like that. Like, I posted a clip. That one monster was hiding behind a box. It's like I couldn't even see it, you know. So I mean, but I like that though, because it gives you the sense of you are not safe, and it's not like, you know, you can just constantly, you know, be at full health. Like you're always on the defensive, and the main character is not Leon. He's not Chris.
Right.
He's not trained in the martial arts or a trained military soldier. He's just a regular dude just out there winging it, and I like that because it really puts you into that mindset.
What's tripping me up is I told this to Aaron. Obviously, you know who Aaron is. Mm-hmm. I told this to Aaron, which was, technically speaking, in a sense, this is like my first experience with Silent Hill.
Yeah.
I've tried playing them back in the day, but to me, it's just so weird explaining this because I can't really explain it that would make sense to anybody else. I've tried playing Silent Hill, and they just freaked me out. It's just the atmosphere, the noises you would hear. It never gave the impression that you were safe.
Yeah.
It always felt like at any point there was something there. And I think that's intended as I'm playing the remake. I think that was intended. But for me, when I was younger and I was playing Silent Hill 2, 3 especially, I couldn't get even past the first level because I kept thinking something was there. Yet on the other side of that, I was playing Fatal Frame, which I think is a darker game, a darker story.
Oh, yeah.
You got ghosts, they're just coming at you, like they're just flying right at you using the camera. So for some reason I was cooler with that. But for Silent Hill, it just freaked me out so much. I was like, oh, yeah, I can't play this game. It just there's just something about it. Here I am now playing it, and it's like, it's the remake. It's an exclusive for PlayStation right now. Visually, it looks beautiful. The scores it's getting, I'm like, I have to play this game. Like, I'm gonna have to just go through it and just deal with it. And yeah, there are parts, I don't know where you are compared to myself, but there are parts in the game where it just is unnerving. You're walking through, you're hearing things. I was looking up what I was doing wrong in this one section because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. In the IGN description, it said, yeah, all those noises you're hearing is on purpose. It's supposed to make you not be there. And I was like, I kept moving my camera around because I thought something was there, and there was nothing there. So that one area, don't want to spoil it, there's a particular area you walk into, and you keep hearing something hit the ground. And I kept turning around, there's nothing there. So I love it. Like, I love the game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. Shout out to Chaos, man. Yeah, you gotta jump into Silent Hill, but you gotta play it when it's dark. That's the only way to play it. Can't play it during the day. You gotta play it when it's dark outside. You feel me? Shout out to my man Chaos, man, coming through. Other than that, what happened? Any other games? No. Well, today I just got Undisputed, Dragon Ball. Everybody's been going crazy over that early access, and Starship Troopers. So I obviously haven't had a chance to play any of them yet, but I'm looking forward to getting into those games this weekend. October's a pretty stacked month. Is there anything else you playing this month? Anything else you grabbing?
That was really it. To you guys, like to you, Chaos, everybody in the FGC, like respect to you guys playing that Dragon Ball game. Mm-hmm. I saw clips. I'm not touching that game. It just sounds like it's gonna piss me off. Well, I played the Budokai series. I played Budokai 3, and that game wanted me. Like, I rarely get upset at games. It's I don't want to say it's like a skill. It's just I don't take games seriously like that to the point where I want to break something. Budokai is one of those games where it's the old school Mortal Kombat. The game just gets difficult for no reason. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing everything about the ape fight. I'm seeing other bosses that people are playing. Before we even went live, I was watching RDC play where it was Mark versus Leland, and I'm watching how they're playing, and I'm like, okay, this will piss me off. Like, I could see myself fighting Chaos or somebody and just getting angry that I can't land a hit. It's like, yeah, you don't know all these moves, and I'm like, this is too much. Like, I just want a simple block, and that's it. Like, I don't want nothing serious. So kudos to you guys. Have fun with that game. I'm going to watch all the clips, but that looks like it's going to piss me off.
Yeah, the Budokai series, he said always at night, best time to play between 9 p.m. Yup, that's true. I'm probably going to play Silent Hill probably like closer to midnight tonight. Yeah, Budokai is like, it's one of those series growing up like that. It would be equivalent to Dark Souls, and I'm not saying that like the whole game is difficult, but like in the Budokai, at least through the first 3, we looked forward to it because we knew it was going to be at some point in the story that was going to be just like the most difficult shit you ever played in your life. Like, that's part of Budokai tradition. You know, having those boss fights that are just like you're going to lose 30 times, you know. So I'm excited to fight Great Ape Vegeta. I'm not going to lower the difficulty. I'll be excited to stream that. Next we got Xbox Saudi pullout. Do we have any dissertations for this? They're going to stop selling consoles in Saudi Arabia. Big surprise.
I know, like, obviously what we're discussing, so I know eventually it's going to happen, what we're going to discuss. Mm-hmm. But I think two things. So, like, people who've never heard me probably think on like the one side, maybe I'm a console warrior. On another side, I'm uneducated as to understanding what's happening in the gaming world. I've been following gaming since I was a kid. I got more into it when I became a teenager. When you see the things that are happening with Saudi Arabia, in respect to what's happening with Xbox, it's one of those things where you see a company who, on one hand, understands that they're just not doing well.
Yeah.
And on another side of it, why continue to lose money if it would be easier to save on cost as to let's just pull out? And so that story that's been going on, I want to say for the past month, if not like month and a half, I even like shared it within this Twitter group, and Nib caught wind of it. Nib was like, what? And it's on one hand, it's a little bit like, wow, that's a crazy thing. If this is a true story, if this is really happening, then that's kind of insane. On another side of it, you know, again, not a console warrior opinion. It's just, if Xbox, mainly Microsoft, feels they're not doing well, then they're going to pull out, you know, and that's just what they have to do. If that's going to save them on cost, if that's going to save them from not, you know, we're not winning this side of it, of against PlayStation, on the console market itself, then yeah, they have to pull out. But it's kind of insane, as in the recent actions, the news that's been happening with Xbox, where unfortunately it's been mainly like negative news. In my perspective, as in like everything that keeps popping up in the news, it just seems negative, or more so on the losing side of things.
Look, first I want to say that people have to stop. I'm not gonna say people. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I don't have to. I don't have to like, scale back my opinion now. This is my show. Listen, y'all Xbox dudes, y'all have to stop labeling everybody that is realistic about things a console warrior. And this is one of the reasons me and Steven are so close, because it's like, you can be an Xbox fan and be realistic about the direction the company is going, or be realistic about their failures. Like, I'm not shocked that they pulling out of Saudi Arabia and nobody's buying the systems. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they pulled out of anywhere else, because they're just not making money on the hardware. And Satya is not going to lose too much more money. We already seeing the games coming over to PlayStation. There's been so many rumors about them having a handheld, or possibly a system that has a open storefront, possibly allowing Steam and these other things. These are discussions that they are having because eventually they want to stop bleeding money. It's not a console war opinion. They're bleeding money on the hardware. So at some point it's going to stop. I personally said that their next console, there will be another console, to rival. I don't even want to say rival. It's not a rivalry. There will be another console to come out alongside the PlayStation 6. It'll probably come out before like the 360 did, so it can try to get a head start. It's not going to work. But it's going to come out, and I believe that's going to be their last console. Because what's the reason they would keep making consoles? Like, they don't make any games exclusive. They don't have any reason for you to buy the console. They've made it abundantly clear that most of their money comes from monthly active users and platforms that are not Xbox. So when you look at it from that perspective, you're looking at Candy Crush and you're looking at World of Warcraft. You're looking at these things. The two of their biggest money makers are not even available on the hardware. So the hardware is going to stop at some point. I'm not shocked that they're pulling out. Only thing I wonder is how long are they going to allow Phil Spencer to continue to drive them into the red with his trickery? Because, Game Pass is not growing. They're not doing any third-party exclusive deals. I mean, you see that they got the marketing deal with Metaphor, but it's not a timed exclusive. It's not on Game Pass, so it's like you just spending money. And that's another thing. Okay, so let's talk about Metaphor really quickly. I'm not playing it, so I don't have too much opinion on it. But only thing I want to say is they paying money. They paying Sega to promote and, they paying, to promote and market the game, the exclusive marketing rights, I should say. And obviously Xbox is going to be the least sold copies on that system. So at the end of the day, what are you gaining? Again, you're just bleeding money for the sake of bleeding money. And you're not big in Japan. What they said, like 500 consoles last month in Japan? Like, nobody's buying the systems in Japan. So you just wasted money. So I want to know how long Satya is going to continue to allow Phil to do this song and dance and just bleed the company money. That's all I want to know.
I think it's a little bit different than that, just from like understanding, I guess in a sense how businesses run. I would say that Phil does a good job what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to reach the fans. He's supposed to reach them and keep them within the family. Like, we need you to stay here with us as the Xbox brand. And so whatever he's saying, I don't want to say in my opinion, I don't think he's giving the fans fluff. He's not lying to them in a sense as to this is what's happening. I think on many fronts, I would say behind closed doors, I bet there's many arguments. There's many hard conversations where, how much further, as to your point, how much further is Satya going to keep Phil around? Well, look at Hellblade. Maybe they thought Hellblade was going to do numbers, right? And so behind closed doors, I can imagine Satya's like, Hellblade needs to do this. Hellblade 2 needs to do this, whether it's monthly active users, sales especially, but what is it going to do? It didn't hit those. And then next thing you know, something that was supposed to be exclusive, Indiana Jones, is now not. So I think there's a lot of conversations that are happening behind closed doors that we're just not privy to, in which those hard conversations, those really tough pills to swallow that Phil is taking, is very much Phil is telling his fan base, here's what's going on. But what I don't think anybody really gets I don't want to say everyone, but I would say a certain fan base, as you pointed out, is really much the honesty of it, the truthfulness of it, which is Microsoft is a business. They've been a cutthroat business for a long time. They've done a lot of shady things for a long time. And if you don't know that, then you don't understand how they operate. A lot of people go into it without naming names, but you see the comments on Twitter where they're just like, they're going to be the next Netflix, they're going to be the next Tencent, things of that nature. And it's like, if you don't understand what Microsoft does, they buy IPs because they want it. They want to take that IP, they want to use technology, and then that's it. And if it fails, it fails. They don't care because they have money. They have tons of money. So for them, if they buy an IP and the IP fails, they'll use it for whatever after, revive it if they need to, this, that, and the third. But if you look at their track record as to Xbox itself, it hasn't been a good track record. And so if you think Microsoft themselves is like, oh yeah, this sucks, well then look at their history of IPs they bought as in software. They buy these software IPs, these brands, they fail or they're non-existent. I mean, when's the last time, what's this program called? Starts with an S?
A program?
I don't even remember it, and I think I deleted it.
Oh, is it a Microsoft program?
Yeah, they get these programs and then they're gone, you know? They're just like, they existed to an extent prior to Microsoft. They get purchased. The software, the IP then gets integrated into their own thing, and then that's it. And then that's why there's that famous meme of Microsoft going up to doors and then these many programs are dead. Now that same meme is now used for developers, where it's like this, look at Bethesda, look at Tango, and stuff like that, where it's, if you're not realistic, as in it's a business, money has to be made. And if money's not being made, then unfortunately businesses go under. And I think a lot of, I don't want to say fans, I want to say like the toxic fans, like it could be Sony, Nintendo, whoever, that's where they don't take that news good in a good way, is because they're believing it's BS. This is BS. Why would they do that? It's like, if you cared so much, then you and your friends would have bought that game.
Yeah.
You know you didn't. You know you don't care. And so this is the result of it. You can't say this game is going to be the game of the generation. I'm not making fun of Starfield, but you can't say this game is going to be a game of the generation or this game is going to do numbers when you know, and again, this is a very vocal fan base that's like, I'm not buying it. A. B, I'll wait until it's on Game Pass. C, which is the most egregious thing, I have too many games, even though the games are, I don't know, Turtles 1, this random COD Black Ops 1, or this one game that I played, I started maybe like for 1 minute, total play time 1 minute. I still want to play that first. So out of all these games, I'll get to Hellblade one day. And it's like, you don't understand, that is hurting that developer. You're not helping it, you're hurting it. And I understand, well, I paid a price, here is what I can do, so that's what I'm going to choose to do. There's not 50 million Sonnies which are getting the games day of, playing them day of, and actually finishing the games. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're not realistic on all of those aspects of the business side of things of Microsoft and what helps the Xbox side of things, that you shouldn't be surprised of what moves Xbox is doing. You shouldn't.
Listen, I agree. I mean, you pretty much covered it all. I just think that at this point, you just have to be realistic. And that's all I can pretty much say about it. You have to understand that the company is pivoting in a way that is going to be conducive to reaching a broader audience, and they're going to focus on that audience, and that audience just isn't the hardware customer. It's just not. So, before we pivot to PS5, do you think there's any chance? Okay, best case scenario, let's say Xbox comes out with, let's say they drop in holiday 2026, the world's most powerful console, and they also have an option, you know, to buy a smaller handheld, the equivalent to the Series S, but it's a handheld this time. And let's say they launching with, obviously Elder Scrolls is not going to be there. Let's say they launching with a proper Gears of War 6 and a new Halo. What are your projections? Do you think that they can recover from this in the hardware space, or do you think it's just over?
It's, in my opinion, this is just me. This is me having years working in retail, working at GameStop. People don't understand that the message you're sending out, marketing is very important. Where if you're not marketing properly, and it doesn't matter if you are like the hardest core gamer in the world, you're not the mom and dad. Yeah. You're not the kid, right? And people don't understand that. I worked at GameStop when the Wii U released. If you know anything about how abysmal the Wii U release was, it's the way they introduced it. If you remember that, when they introduced it, you did not see the console. You saw the controller.
Exactly.
And so on one hand, as a fan, like, I didn't want anything to do with the Wii. I loved my GameCube. I didn't understand what the Wii was. And then it blew up, and I was like, well, let me get what's on the Wii. And I got some great games out of it. It was great. It was fun. I wouldn't call it a gimmick per se, because it was the first time that was done.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of shovelware. But again, the Wii was what it was. So you knew what you were getting into. When it came to the Wii U, I didn't understand it. I was like, so I'm just getting a tablet? What's the difference? Like, so now I stare at a screen? What do I do? And I was like, well, maybe they'll pull the Wii magic where it's like, I don't get it, so maybe it'll work. And then I'd have parents come in. Parents would come in, and they would go, so it's an attachment, because it's just a tablet. I'm like, no, it's a console. And they're like, huh? And if you want to talk about like midnight releases of consoles, I was there for the PS4 and 360.
Yeah.
I was there for the Wii U. I mean, I'm sorry, not PS4, 360, PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
The Wii U, and then me personally, I went to the stores when the PS3 and the 360 was out. So I'm talking about, it was like maybe like 5-10 people, and even the people who showed up were still confused, because they were just like, so I add it. I'm like, no, it's a new system. So even the people who were buying it just seemed really confused of what they were getting. Yeah. At GameStop, they did a I don't know if they still do this now, but they did a rental. If you worked there, you can borrow things. I went and borrowed the Wii U. I took 5 games. I went home, didn't like it. It just, to me, it just wasn't there. Now, back to your question, that was my example of how like marketing is bad. Look at Xbox. It's a joke in a sense as to understanding from an outside perspective the numbering system. So Xbox, okay, cool. That's the first one. Got it. So obviously the second one is called the Xbox 2. No, it's called the 360. Why is it called 360? Oh no. So then what about if the second one's 360, what's the third one? Xbox One. No, you already said that. No, it's called the Xbox One. So then you take it another step further, and I forget where I read this, where it was at the time series, like the word series was kind of being used a lot. So they thought they could use that in relation to, well, I don't want to say the hip kids were saying it, but it was like, oh, people are saying series. So if we say that, then it'll add to it. But what they don't understand is that you just made 2 consoles called Xbox One S, Xbox One X. Now you're saying Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X. And at that time when they were coming out, the Xbox One was trending on Amazon for the highest sales. because parents didn't understand that. And that's what people aren't getting, is the marketing aspect of it is what always will ruin the hype. And so if you're just a fan, and I've said this many times, you can look at my Twitter and servers I've been, I say this all the time. It's not a console warrior opinion, it's just a fact. Is the marketing did the Xbox Series in. When they wrote on their the initial box, the trailer, where the Xbox Series S can basically do the same thing as the X, and it's got 120 FPS, people thought they could buy the Series S day one and save themselves money because it's identical to the X, which was further from the truth now that we know that. And if you want to do the jokes about 8K gaming, that works on both sides, Xbox, PlayStation. Who cares? It's just another check mark where you go to a TV brand. What does this TV do? Oh, it does this, it does that. Oh, is that like real? Like, no, that's what they say. That's what the brand says, but that's their technology. And if you don't understand that, especially if you're not from the PC world, those things mean nothing. Ray tracing means nothing. Who cares? Does your game work? Okay, then that's what you should be happy about. But from the Xbox side of things, they really just botched the marketing of what they do. When it comes to Hellblade, when that was coming out, where was the marketing at? When it came to the initial announcement and release of the Xbox Series consoles, they botched that. And it's just, I don't know, in a sense, who you can blame, as in, who's the real person? Is it Phil? Is it, what was that guy, Matt Booty? All these names that you can like pull out as to like these people, to me, it's always been the marketing team. The marketing team has just butchered everything going for them. So to me, I think it's too late. They bombed with the Xbox One. Series just continued it. They just continued that. They shot themselves in the foot with Game Pass. So if they were to come out, in my opinion, if they were to come out with a handheld system, that's great, as in good idea. Steam Deck, Switch 2, ROG Ally. You can buy the Razer adapter. All these things, you're now in a saturated market. You're now going to be another number in there as to why is this better than my Steam Deck? Why is this better than my ROG Ally? And then if you were to do the rivalry, as you mentioned before, Xbox versus this versus that, how is the Xbox going to differ than a Switch? Because will it have Mario? Will it have Smash? Will it have Mario Kart? If you were talking about what's better in a sense between Xbox and PlayStation, if we're doing hypotheticals, they make a handheld, it has Game Pass, it has Steam. Okay, what does PlayStation offer? Let's ignore God of War and all that. That's kind of insane that you're getting the Steam library and the Xbox Game Pass library. So that's a win. But for kids, am I getting Mario? Am I getting all these great games? I can play Splatoon. And you look at, they already announced they're going to do COD on Switch 2. So then they're going to get Warzone. So then really, they're not going to win that.
Yeah.
So then you have to be better than the Steam Deck, the Legion, ROG. You have to be better than them. You don't have to be better than PlayStation or Sony or PlayStation or Nintendo. You have to be better than them. And I don't think it's a good idea. But we'll see.
That's an interesting perspective, because I usually when you talk about when people talk about who they blame as it pertains to Xbox's failure in the console space, usually people will say Don Matrick, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Satya, but I've never heard anybody blame the marketing team, and I myself haven't thought of that. So that's a really good perspective. So pivoting, so the PS5 Pro, do you think that this is a good investment, or do you think that it's not worth the price? What's your take on that?
What's funny to me is that I think I'm in like a specific area where I don't want to say not a lot of people can do this. It's just It's more so of you making the decision to do that. I'm some people like to joke I'm rich. I'm not rich. I just know what to do with my money correctly, in a sense, as to saving, what purchase to get, this, that, and the third. But I come from I don't want to say an unusual background, but I've been tinkering with PC since I was a teenager. I was very much into PC at a young age.
Right.
So to me, I just understood PC gaming existed. I understood it. I knew it was a big thing, and I always wanted to get into it. But then as I got older, I started understanding how you build a PC, how you want to get a PC, and what you can do with it, especially during the PS2, PS3, 360 era. And so to me, I come from a PC world where, yeah, I'm going to drop 2-3K to upgrade my rig. And I'm completely fine with that. So for people who sit there and say, is the PS5 Pro a good investment? It is. Because if you want the next best thing, if you want the best visuals you can get, if you want the highest frame rate, you're gonna get the PS5 Pro. When it came to the PS4 and PS4 Pro, when I saw the specs of it, I was like, oh man, it's got more RAM. Or yeah, it's got more RAM. It looks to be like it has better fans as in to handle the gaming that it does. I never had the turbine situation that everybody jokes about, like, oh my god, it's like a jet airplane's going up. I never had that. I always made sure my room was good, but I always made sure my PS4 was clean. But you can tell the difference when you turn it on. It's not automatically going into overdrive just to start on. It just, I wouldn't say it was quiet, but it just worked. So for me, if I want the next best thing, who am I to be that hypocrite to go, like some people online, why are you going to spend this money? That's a waste of money. I just spent $1,500 to upgrade my GPU a year ago. So to me, dropping $700, what's the difference? Why do I need the next best phone? Why do I need the next best watch, car? Why do I have the new Jordans? Things of that nature. It doesn't matter. I would say if you're able, if you have the luxury to upgrade your console, specifically because you want to have the best of, you have to get it. If you don't care about those things, if you're just the guy who plays Warzone, Fortnite, and it's just casual, then there's no need to get it. If you don't care about visuals, if you don't care about any of that, I don't need to have the pro mode. I don't need to have better 4K fidelity. I don't need to have upscaling. It's not for you. But again, on the other side of it as well, I'm not going to shame anybody as to you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. I understand that. You know, I'm never going to judge anybody who can't afford something. That's fine. I joke about it online, as in the people who are complaining about it cost this amount of money. That's a different conversation. But like, if Sonny was to come up to me and he would be like, man, I can't afford it, I'm not going to be like, oh man, you're poor. You know, I would never do that. You can't afford it, you can't afford it. But then if Sonny was to come out and say he bought it, you know, and was just like, you know, I got it, I hope this is the right thing, I would tell him, like, yeah, it's the right thing, man. Like, it's going to be worth it. It's worth that investment.
Yeah, I think that, you spoke on the PS4 Pro. I think, like, the leap, like, when I saw the PS4 Pro for the first time when they introduced it, and I had a base PS4, I looked at the PS4 Pro and I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't feel like, you know, I need to upgrade it. I don't feel like, you know, it's got more RAM, you know, better, quieter, but I don't feel like it's going to be that big of a leap. But when I saw the PS5 Pro, you know, when I saw improved ray tracing, you know, when I saw that now you can have, you know, 4K with the 60 frames per second, you know, better upscaling, it comes with 2 terabytes, you know, all that to me, when you add it up to just $700, and for me, I'll say $800 because I am physical only, so I'm gonna have to buy the disc drive. I don't think it's bad for $800. I truly don't, because I spent I spent about $1,700 on my PC last year, my first PC, and I got a 4070. It's a really good PC. able to run all the next gen games. So just looking at that PS5 Pro, I think for the price, when you compare it to other luxury devices, and that's what it is. People are looking at it like, oh, the cost of entry now, they're trying to make you pay $800. Like, you can go get a PS5 Slim. You know, you can go get a PS5 Digital Slim. You can go get a regular launch PS5 for $400 from somewhere. Like, so they're not forcing you to spend the $800. You know, if you don't care about all the bells and whistles, you know, like my favorite thing this generation has been, you know, the ray tracing. I'll play a game at 30 frames per second, you know, if I'm gonna get top of the line visuals and I'm gonna get ray tracing, you know. But for people who don't care about that, just go. You can go get a base one. They didn't take it away. They didn't strip it and stop selling it, you know, and force you to buy it. You don't have to buy it. You can go get you a base one and be good. So I think that it is worth the price for those people who, you know, do want to upgrade and they have it to upgrade. Now, like you said, if you don't have it to upgrade and you just looking at it like, dang, should I, you know, spend my last $800 on this or my last $700? No, in that situation, I would say that it's not worth it, because you can go get a PS5 for $400 at this point, and then you can go do whatever you need to do with the other $400. You know, but people always look at PlayStation, and it's mainly console warriors. They look at PlayStation in a different light. You know, they look at Apple, and we don't hear nearly the uproar when they release, you know, damn near the same phone every year with, you know, a couple of new features that Android been had 2 years ago. We don't look at people crazy when they say, I want to upgrade, you know, from the Lexus to a Scat Pack. We don't say, well, why are you spending all that money when you can go get a Toyota Acura, you know, that runs just the same as the Scat Pack. They both can do 80 miles, get you where you need to go. They both take gas. We don't look at it like that. But because it's PlayStation, and because they've been dominant, and because they've been winning for so long, that eventually you turn on whoever's at the top. And this works in all industries, not even just gaming. Whoever's at the top, eventually, they going to turn on you. They going to want to see you fall. That's just how it happens. So, yeah, it's just a different standard. But, you know, I'm excited about it. I can't wait. You know, I put the day off the following day, not the 7th when it comes out, but that following day, Friday, I took off, you know, so I could set it up and put my PS5 into my bedroom. Because I'm not trading my PS5. I'm going to put it in the bedroom. And I had a Pro in the living room. So, I'm excited about that. So, all right. So, you know a lot about PC. I have a PC. I'm not a big PC. I don't have all the knowledge. So, do you think there's any way to build a PC equivalent of this Pro for the same price?
My point of view comes from a very one-for-one opinion. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people aren't doing that. And so I would say certain people that we talk to or we're like mutuals of, like Sumo's seen my comments and has been running wild with it, which I love. Mm-hmm. I don't personally know this for a fact. I just know that I typed it out and then he does it too now. Is that you can't do a one-for-one of $700 without including in the OS and a keyboard and mouse. You can't. So if you were to sit there and say, if we're just talking about, I want to build something that's better than the PS5. Yeah, easy. No, anyone can do that. No problem. Can you match the price? I could say you can get relatively close if we're only speaking about power. If we're just talking about power, I could say you can get pretty close to it. Now, if you're talking about my build will do everything that the PS5 can do and better, and it's just $700, and you can't tell me otherwise, I'm going to call you out on it, because you don't have an OS. People like to argue that you can't buy Sony's OS. Okay, then take the OS out. Take it out. All right, cool. Let's be fair. Let's take it out. All right, cool. Do you have a keyboard and mouse? Why do I got to include that? I'm like, I get a controller when I have my PS5.
Let me cut you off real quick. I need to say this. When people have been talking about, okay, y'all want to add all these peripherals. I seen somebody say, well, you have to include the cost of a TV if you're talking about PC and you got to buy a monitor, right? The difference is every house has a TV. Let's just be real. Everybody has it. It's 2024, man. Unless you live in some third world country, thoughts and prayers. We talking about people that just live, in America. You have a TV. Every house has a TV. Every house does not have a monitor. So you have to get the monitor. If you buying a PC, you have to get a monitor. Every house has a TV, whether it's 1080p, 4K, or it's a damn plasma TV. You have a TV. So stop trying to include the TV in the cost for the PS5 Pro. That's stupid, and it makes no sense. Continue.
That's why I like my opinion on it is because they never include those things. They never include in the OS. They never include in the keyboard and mouse. And then even let's say you got a build, right? You go home, and I'm just talking about just the basic understanding of either building a PC or buying a pre-built. You buy a pre-built, you can go to Best Buy, Walmart, whatever. You're getting a keyboard and mouse. You're getting one. If you build your own, you're buying one. There's no way you're going home and you're just going to turn it on and magically it works. No, it's not. You have to go through a couple of options. And that's the same thing with the PS5. Any console, when you have your controller, it's going to ask you certain questions, Wi-Fi, what's your gamer tag, this, that, and the third. And people like to ignore that. And I don't know why that is. Like, they ignore this simple fact. I don't know if you talk to Derek. Derek always points out people not choosing the right CPU. They choose a lower CPU. And there's just certain things where people are choosing lower end items just to say, well, I can upscale it. No one's talking about upscaling. We are just talking about, is it more powerful? We're not talking about getting some type of GPU and upscaling from 1080p all the way to 4K. We're just talking about pure power. Can you do a build that'll match one for one what the PS5 comes with? You can. And people like to just go around and just do this whole song and dance. I can get OS for free. It's a little bit shady, but I can get it. Maybe it's like $5 and it's illegal, but it's okay. And I just don't understand how people are willing to go that route, to be disingenuous, especially if you're on a platform, why they're going to go this route. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is you're gaming. So can you build a better PS5 on PC? Yes. Can you build a better PS5 Pro on PC? Yes. Can you make it meet the price? What is your exact question are you asking? Are you asking purely power? Then yeah, okay. It could maybe be around 700. Maybe it's closer to 800. I don't know. But are you asking out the box? No, you can't. It's an impossibility.
Yeah, I just think that for $700, and matter of fact, let's not even add the disk drive because there is no disk drive on PC. So for and that's another thing I didn't think about. People say, well, you gotta buy the disk drive. Oh, wait, okay, well, we're not going to include it then because on PC there is no option for the disk drive. You're just buying the PC, which is digital. So I think for $700, I think you'd be hard pressed to meet the value. Like you said, yeah, you could probably come relatively close, if not match what the PS5 Pro can do inside the box. But just for the value, $700, and I don't think you're going to find it. All right, so before we get out of here, go ahead.
So to add on to that, Bari was talking about that, Jay Bari.
Yep. And
I gave him some information. Like, to buy a Blu-ray driver burner is $50 up to $100. So you can buy it on PC. It's more expensive than you're buying for PlayStation.
Oh wow! So give me let's say 6, and then we're gonna get out. Give me your game of the year. What you think we're gonna see nominated?
Oh, thank God! I thought you meant my 6. I was like, I don't know 6. Astrobot. Clearly Metaphor. It's doing numbers.
Yeah, it'll be there.
Silent Hill, Final Fantasy Rebirth, and I could only say this because Nintendo is just Nintendo.
Yeah.
They could. You cussed earlier, so I'm pretty sure I can cuss. I can cuss.
Do your thing.
Nintendo can shit out a game that just has Mario, Zelda, whoever, and they're just like, yeah, and then it's game of the year. Don't know how they do it, but they just do it. So the Zelda game where you play as Zelda,
Yeah.
I would say that's the sixth one. I think I said six. I'm not really sure.
That was 4, I think. You said you said Silent Hill, Astrobot, Metaphor, Zelda.
Rebirth? I said Rebirth.
Oh yeah, you said Rebirth. So one more.
Black Ops.
You think Black Ops is gonna get nominated?
No, I can't think of another game.
I think that they almost have to nominate Dragon's Dogma because of how successful it was at launch. I would say Wukong, but I think that Wukong didn't score high enough to be in consideration. I think the fact that it's like an 83 on Metacritic is not going to get nominated. But I would say that, though.
I think some of those games, because there's so much controversy that's around it, I think some of those games don't get nominated.
Like Hogwarts.
Like Hogwarts wasn't nominated for anything, and I think it was surrounding the controversy around it. Black Myth Wukong, that had some controversy. Palworld did insane numbers. Oh, Helldivers 2. There we go.
Oh yeah, Helldivers. Forgot. Oh, this is gonna be tough this year.
But like Palworld, the controversy surrounding that with Nintendo, there's no way it gets nominated. Jeff's gonna avoid it like the plague.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it would be. I think between Helldivers and Dragon's Dogma, I think that's kind of a toss-up because I feel like if you got Rebirth, you got Astrobot, and you got Silent Hill, I feel like you kind of just cannot have all the games damn near be PlayStation exclusives. So I feel like something is gonna not get nominated that deserves to be nominated, and I feel like they're probably gonna try to insert either Dragon's Dogma or we'll see a first this year, and they will have what's that game? They'll have Elden Ring DLC nominated, even though it's not a game.
Oh,
I can see them doing that. I know that. I can't imagine Twitter if they nominate that as an actual game this year.
That's all Chaos talks about is Elden Ring, and he showed an IGN poll where he's, look, Elden Ring got nominated. I'm like, stop. It's not happening. Just let it go.
Yeah, they nominated it, and it still lost, but they did have it nominated. So, it was there.
It's possible.
Hey, listen, man. Shout out to the 61 viewers on Twitter. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm glad y'all pulled up for the show tonight. I had a good time. Mars, excellent. The insight was great. You killed it. And anything else you want to let the people know before we go, man? I'll be back next week with another episode, and we'll see how it go. But anything else you want to let the people know? You got any giveaways or you want them to follow you? Let them know while we're here.
Want to follow me? I'm TheMarzZepplin on everything. Gaming, Twitter, Discord, whatever have you. I wouldn't say monthly giveaways. I do sporadic giveaways. So if you're trying to win a game on Steam, mainly PC, I try to do gift cards for consoles whenever I can. Maybe one day I'll do content again. Maybe this awesome time I've had, maybe that'll rejuvenate me to do it. But follow me there. If you want to talk to me about anything, I'm down. If you want any gaming insight, I'm more than happy to talk about it. But yeah.
62 live viewers for the first episode is beautiful. Thank you again. Mars is always welcome to come back. You can come back next week if you want to, whenever. The floor is open. It's been the Maximum Spider Experience, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Where the hell is my goddamn mouse? All right, here we go. See, PC stuff. If I was the PlayStation, I just click the button and we done. See, that's what I'm talking about. And y'all want to talk about PlayStation. Look at all this stuff. All right, see y'all next week, man.